Let's begin, shall we? Our first Halloween story starts us off with the university's most enigmatic student club, the Dark Arts Society, where the students get a bit more what they came for.
The Dark Arts Society. Stellawood University was known for many things: its prestigious faculty, its sprawling campus, and its rich history in the world of academia. But it was also known for something more mysterious, something whispered about only in hushed tones among the students. The Dark Arts Society. It was the university's most enigmatic student club, a group of like-minded individuals who delved into the world of the occult and the supernatural. Intrigued and curious, I decided to join this society. Despite the countless warnings from my friends, it was the allure of the unknown that drew me in, that promise of unearthing secrets hidden in the shadows. As the calendar approached October 31st, the society decided to host a Halloween séance, a special event that was rumored to be like no other. We gathered in a dimly lit, hidden chamber deep within the university, a room filled with ancient books, eerie artifacts, and unsettling symbols etched into the floor. The atmosphere was electric with anticipation, and the thrill of the unknown sent shivers down my spine. The room was lit by a single candle at its center, casting long, flickering shadows that danced upon the walls. We all sat in a circle, our faces etched with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. The society's leader, Professor Ashcroft, a man with piercing eyes and an air of mystery, began the ritual. Incantations filled the room, and the candle's flame swayed as if in response. The atmosphere grew thick with tension, and then it happened. A sudden gust of wind extinguished the candle, plunging us into utter darkness. Panic washed over the room as we fumbled for our phones, trying to restore the light. But before we could succeed, a bone-chilling cold descended upon us, far colder than the autumn night outside. It was as if the very essence of evil had infiltrated the room. The shadows took on a life of their own, twisting and writhing like malevolent spirits. The room seemed to resonate with an otherworldly presence, and it was in that chilling moment that I felt something strange, something that made my skin crawl. My body trembled as if possessed by an unseen force. With mounting horror, I realized that I could no longer control my own movements. My limbs moved against my will, and my voice was no longer mine. I watched in terror as my mouth formed words I did not speak, and a voice unlike my own spoke from my lips. It was an ancient, malevolent entity that had been awakened, a being that had lain dormant for centuries. It spoke of darkness, of power, and of unspeakable malevolence. It claimed to be a creature of the netherworld, a being of pure evil, and it had chosen me as its vessel. The other members of the society were frozen in fear, unable to intervene as the entity continued to speak through me. It spoke of curses and of doom, of an impending darkness that would engulf the world. Its words sent shivers down my spine, and I felt as if I were a mere puppet, controlled by forces beyond my comprehension. Finally, with a deafening cry, the entity released its hold on me, and I slumped to the ground, my body drenched in sweat. The room grew still, and the shadows receded, leaving us in a stunned silence. The Halloween séance had gone horribly wrong, and the darkness had claimed another soul that night. Not just mine, but all of ours. We had unwittingly unleashed a malevolent force, and the consequences of that fateful night would haunt us for the rest of our lives. As the days turned into weeks, we grappled with the sinister aftermath of that night. The Dark Arts Society was disbanded, and Professor Ashcroft disappeared without a trace. Stellawood University became a place of whispered rumors and haunted tales, a place where the shadows held secrets darker than any of us could have imagined. The night of the Halloween séance served as a grim reminder of the dangers of tampering with forces beyond our understanding. It was a lesson etched into our souls, a reminder that some secrets are best left buried in the depths of the unknown.
Our next story, Alone on Halloween Bridge.
The town of Shallowbrook was known for many things, but one of its most iconic landmarks was the Halloween Bridge. It earned its name not just because of its eerie, blackened appearance, but because it was the go-to place for thrill-seekers on Halloween night. The bridge had a long and storied history, rumored to be cursed by a vengeful spirit who had met a terrible fate there long ago. As a lifelong resident of Shallowbrook, I'd heard all the stories about Halloween Bridge, but I'd never been brave enough to visit it on the spookiest night of the year. That is, until the Halloween of my 18th year. Halloween night was crisp, and the moon hung low in the sky, casting eerie shadows across the town. Most of the townsfolk were busy with their own celebrations, but I craved something different. The lure of Halloween Bridge called to me, and I decided it was time to confront my fear and experience the legendary crossing myself. The bridge was a short walk from my house, and as I approached it, I couldn't help but feel a shiver run down my spine. The darkness seemed to seep from the bridge, as if it were a living, breathing entity. I took a deep breath, summoned my courage, and stepped onto the creaky wooden planks. I had barely made it to the middle of the bridge when the wind whispered secrets in my ear. The hair on the back of my neck stood on end, and I felt like I was being watched. I couldn't shake the feeling that something sinister lurked beneath me, hidden in the depths of the chasm. As I inched forward, the moon's pale light revealed the words etched into the wooden railing: "Heed the warnings of Halloween Bridge, or face the wrath of the lost souls." A shiver ran down my spine, but I dismissed it as a clever trick by some local kids. Still, the wind carried voices, distant cries that sent a chill through my bones. Just as I was about to turn back and head home, the bridge creaked loudly, drowning out the whispers of the wind. It felt as though the ancient wood itself was trying to warn me. I froze in my tracks, heart pounding, unable to move. That's when I saw it, emerging from the shadows beneath the bridge. A figure, gaunt and wraith-like, stepped into the moonlight. It had hollow eyes and pale, almost translucent skin. Its bony fingers reached out towards me, as if beckoning me to come closer. My body went cold, and I couldn't scream. I was paralyzed by fear. The creature moved closer, its footsteps eerily silent on the old wooden planks. It was then that I noticed its tattered, torn clothing, and I realized that this entity was not of this world. It was a spirit, a restless soul, condemned to wander the Halloween Bridge for all eternity. In that moment, something inside me snapped, and I found the strength to move. With every ounce of energy I had, I turned and sprinted away from the bridge. The creature let out a guttural, anguished scream that sent chills down my spine, but I didn't dare look back. I had no doubt that the legend of Halloween Bridge was all too real, and I had no intention of becoming another lost soul on that cursed bridge. I didn't stop running until I reached the safety of my home. I slammed the door behind me, panting and trembling, the terror still fresh in my mind. I vowed never to return to Halloween Bridge again. The haunting memories of that night would forever serve as a reminder that some legends are best left untested. As the years passed, I watched from a distance as Halloween Bridge continued to attract the curious and the daring on Halloween night. The bridge, and the entity that dwelled beneath it, served as a chilling reminder that there are places in this world where the boundary between the living and the dead is thin, and venturing into those realms can come at a high price. So, if you ever find yourself in Shallowbrook on Halloween night, and the allure of Halloween Bridge calls to you, remember the cautionary tale of the solitary walker who encountered a restless spirit on that fateful night. Some mysteries are better left unexplored, and some bridges are best left uncrossed.
Our next story takes us to the city morgue in unfinished business.
In the heart of the city, Crow's Hill Morgue stood as a somber sentinel of death. It was an unassuming place, a quiet corner of the world where the souls of the departed came to rest. I was Dr. Claudette, the coroner who had seen it all, or so I thought, until that fateful Halloween night. The morgue had always been an eerie place, but Halloween had an uncanny way of making it even spookier. The old, creaking building seemed to whisper its own tales of the dead, its walls harboring countless secrets. That Halloween, a chill hung in the air as I prepared to perform an autopsy on a body that had arrived under peculiar circumstances. It was delivered in the dead of night, a mysterious corpse swathed in a shroud of darkness. My assistant, Shane, handed me the scalpel, his face a pallid reflection of my own unease. As I made the initial incision, the room grew colder, and the flickering fluorescent lights seemed to wane. The body was unlike any I'd ever encountered. Its skin, translucent and waxy, held an otherworldly sheen, as if it were a vessel between realms. I couldn't help but shiver, though I'd dissected countless bodies in my career. The scalpel touched the cold flesh, and that's when it happened. The body's eyes snapped open, piercing blue orbs that seemed to emit an eerie, unnatural glow. I gasped, stumbling backward as the corpse's pale lips parted, and it whispered in a voice as cold as death itself, "Secrets of the dead." I couldn't believe my eyes. I was alone in that dimly lit morgue with a body that had come back to life. Fear coiled around my heart as I leaned in closer, unable to resist the inexplicable draw. The body's whispers grew louder, and I strained to listen.
The river's secrets,
It hissed,
buried beneath the old oak by the bridge.
My blood ran cold. It knew something that only the dead could reveal. Before I could ask more, it uttered another cryptic message.
the love letters hidden behind the hearthstone.
I had heard enough. Panic welled up inside me, and I rushed out of the morgue, leaving the unfinished autopsy behind. Shane was waiting just outside the door, his eyes wide with terror as he saw my ashen face.
"What happened in there?"
he asked, his voice trembling. "The body," I stammered. "It's alive." It whispered secrets of the dead. "We must leave." We locked the morgue doors behind us, and I couldn't get the corpse's haunting words out of my mind. What did it mean? What secrets did it possess? The night seemed to stretch on forever as I tossed and turned in my bed, haunted by the unfinished autopsy. Days turned into weeks, and I became obsessed with the cryptic messages the body had imparted. I couldn't ignore it any longer. I needed to uncover the truth, to put an end to the torment of the whispers that echoed in my mind. With Shane by my side, we ventured out, following the clues the corpse had given. We found ourselves at the old oak tree by the bridge, digging in the moonlight. Beneath its roots, we discovered a chest filled with letters, their pages yellowed with age. And later, behind the hearthstone of a long-forgotten cottage, we unearthed a stash of love letters, written by a forlorn soul from centuries past. The secrets revealed in those letters wove tales of love and betrayal, of passions and regrets. With the secrets of the dead now laid bare, the whispers ceased, and the morgue returned to its quiet, somber existence. But I could never escape the haunting words that lingered in my memory, a reminder that even in death, secrets have a way of resurfacing, and some stories are never truly finished.
Our next thrilling scary story, the Halloween office party, takes us to a very unsettling conclusion.
It was that time of year again, the annual Halloween party at our office. The fluorescent lights that usually bathed the cubicles in a sterile glow had been replaced by the eerie flicker of jack-o'-lanterns and the soft, wavering glow of candlelight. Colleagues, who were often lost in their work, were now unrecognizable in costumes that ranged from classic monsters to the latest pop culture icons. It was a night of fun, laughter, and, of course, a fair share of office gossip. As the clock neared 8 p.m., the office buzzed with anticipation. This year, the Halloween party had a mysterious aura, mainly due to the ongoing absence of our colleague, Sean. He had disappeared without a trace a few months earlier, leaving everyone concerned and puzzled. The air was thick with speculation, as various theories circulated about Sean's sudden vanishing act. The most peculiar incident of the night unfolded when the new employee, Vanessa, walked in. She had started working at the company only a week ago and had already established herself as a quiet and reserved individual. Her choice of costume, however, made quite an entrance. She donned a mask that eerily resembled the face of our missing colleague, Sean. The resemblance was uncanny. The mask captured Sean's features with a disturbing level of accuracy, down to the very wrinkles on his face. Vanessa wore a dark suit that mirrored Sean's typical office attire, and her attire sent shivers down the spines of those who knew him well. Whispers and gasps swept through the room as Vanessa made her grand entrance. She moved with an eerie grace, her steps precise and calculated, as if she had rehearsed her performance for weeks. With every passing moment, she seemed to embody Sean more and more, her movements mirroring his mannerisms perfectly. I couldn't resist the urge to approach her, as curiosity and a sense of dread swirled within me. My colleagues hesitated, but I couldn't resist the temptation to find out more about this strange new employee. "Hey, Vanessa," I said tentatively, reaching out to tap her on the shoulder. My voice quivered with uncertainty. Vanessa turned to face me, and as I gazed into the eyes of the mask, I felt an overwhelming sense of unease. Those eyes, which were supposed to be lifeless, seemed to bore into my very soul, and I was suddenly struck with the chilling realization that they were anything but lifeless. They were cold and unyielding, devoid of emotion or humanity. Her lips remained concealed beneath the mask, and she made no attempt to speak. Instead, she continued her eerie dance, swaying to the haunting melody that echoed through the office. It was as if she were in a trance, and the music was guiding her every move. I stepped back, my heart racing, as I tried to process the unnerving encounter. I wasn't the only one who had noticed Vanessa's peculiar behavior. Whispers and uneasy glances were exchanged among my coworkers, and the atmosphere in the room grew heavy with tension. As the night went on, Vanessa's performance became even more unsettling. She seemed to have an uncanny knowledge of the office and its employees, mimicking Sean's interactions and quirks with alarming precision. It was as if she had somehow absorbed his essence. Or perhaps, something far more sinister was at play. The clock struck midnight, and the Halloween party began to wind down. I couldn't shake the feeling of foreboding that had settled over me, and the memory of Vanessa's mask haunted my thoughts. As I left the office that night, I couldn't help but wonder if there was something malevolent lurking behind that mask, something that had taken the place of our missing colleague, Sean. In the weeks that followed, the mystery of Sean's disappearance deepened, and Vanessa's presence remained an enigma. The annual Halloween party had left an indelible Sean on all of us, a chilling reminder that sometimes, the line between the ordinary and the supernatural is far thinner than we'd like to believe. And on that fateful night, our office had unwittingly hosted a demon in the guise of a new employee, leaving us all to grapple with the unsettling question of what had become of Sean.
Don't be scared. Drop a comment below about a scary story you know of, and please do keep the comments respectable. Don't forget to click the like and notification buttons and turn notifications on. Must say thanks for taking the time to view my content. Look out for future chilling stories from the Chillsunderated team.